You know, China is really starting to come into focus now because I think people are really understanding the power that that country holds
Mm.
over the rest of the world. And they pay slave wages. They are a communist country. And a lot of the things that we buy here, and I'm sure that they buy in the UK, are made in Indochina.
China.
And that's a big
Mm.
problem. And
Mm.
I don't know if people realize how much worse this is going to get. And I noticed something over the last year. You know how vocal in social media somebody like LeBron James is, and his animosity that he had towards Trump. But whenever the issue of China came up, LeBron never said anything. And I think that says a lot about the mindset of where a lot of people are. Is that a lot of people at the top are willing to play this game as long as it's benefiting them and it's on the side that it's benefiting them.
Yeah.
How is the China influence in the UK? And is that something that we need to be taking more seriously?
In the UK specifically, it's really hard to tell. It's not as overt as it is in America. It's not like you've got like the Chinese Communist Party standing up and saying that they've like bought off the son of Boris Johnson, or at least claiming to have bought him off, because that would be expensive. We don't know how many children he's got. And that's a real thing. Like there's estimates that he has like 5 to 7 kids from numerous different women. And he actually, fun fact, left his previous wife who was recovering or still had cancer at the time for his new current wife.
Classy.
Oh yeah,
real classy. I mean, that's the kind of guy you want running the country. But the China influence is most like prevalent for me in just the way that we've accepted the lockdowns and the way that we're kind of fine with this like free market, like let's ship everything offshore, like get everything made somewhere else because it'll be cheaper sort of ideology. Like those are the two things that China has given us the most influence in. I mean, I think, who was it was pointing this out to me? I think it was Jeffrey Tucker, but I could be wrong. I can't remember. But they were basically pointing out that Imperial College London and Neil Ferguson, the people that predicted this like monstrously high death toll within months from COVID, are like the one of the biggest like recipients of Chinese funds of any university in the UK. And it made me think, I was like, maybe they're just like enjoying saying what China likes to hear because they're getting a lot of money from them. And if you like Google Imperial College China or Imperial College London China, you get like one of their pages, and it's like when Xi Jinping came to visit, and there's like loads of cool like photos of him interacting like just like a normal person with all the with all the faculty and the students, and it's beautiful to see them embracing with open arms a murderous dictator who is paying. I think you were probably giving him a little bit too much credit in saying they pay wages. They don't exactly pay people in Xinjiang.
No, they're slaves. I call them, but for Apple, I call them slaves.
Yeah, I mean, like I my friend repeatedly points this out to me, and it's an argument that I buy into, is that you see, if we just stop buying their stuff for like 3 months, the country would probably collapse. Like if we just like put stupid sanctions on them for 3 months, do you like, I just ask myself something. It's like, could we live without China's stuff for 3 months, and that would put their economy under such a strain that the country would start to break?
Like, I think that's why
that was one of the
they own us though financially, not just that. Like that's the thing. Like if they really call in their debt to us, our kids are going to be working in Chinese labor camps as well.
Yeah, we
need to be teaching them Mandarin.
Well, it's a very precarious situation, and this is the one signature thing that Trump did that I absolutely 100% supported. When he was elected, he axed the TPP, and that was a thank you to the people who got him elected in the Rust Belt. And so but the war never ended because we still had normal trade relations with China. We still had NAFTA. He did a couple of things for farmers, but overall it wasn't an improvement. And we're still, sort of circling the drain here. And then ultimately Trump found himself in a situation where he could rally the most people by basically going full-blown nationalistic, if not outright fascist. And so because of that, there wasn't enough of a consensus amongst the working class to say, yeah, this is the path we want to take. Trump was simply the wrong person to be in charge because he didn't want to actually do any work. And that's a big problem. But we are going to be faced with a much greater issue now, because I still think the biggest fear I have of the Biden presidency is that they are going to try to bring back the Trans-Pacific Partnership. And if they put that through, if people think it's bad now, they ain't seen nothing yet. I mean, this is going to be as bad as it's ever been, because totally, Arca, you should be learning Mandarin. That's funny. We are going to get to a point where we're not going to have any choices. And everyone thinks, oh, it's never going to happen. Of course it does. History has shown. How many people?
The last year has been like the biggest debunking of that phrase. Oh, that could never happen. That the last year has, like, every single time I say, oh, but that'll never happen. Oh, they couldn't possibly do that. It just, I like 3 months later, I'm like, why did I say it couldn't happen? Like, China they've petitioned. I don't know if you've seen this, actually. This is kind of really under the radar. Like a few days ago, I read that China have petitioned the World Health Organization to run the global immunity passport. And it's just like, yes, let's let the country that has the social credit system design our international travel standards.
Oh, yeah.
That seems like a great idea.
Well, that's what I say about people like Jeff Bezos. Yeah, let's give him control of our water and our air too. Let's just there's no limitations to how we are willing to give up control. I mean,
and we don't really have that many people with the ways and means that actually have any sensibility to the real problems that go on. I mean, you've got Richard Branson and others that, on the surface seem like they're really doing a good job, but the truth is they're not doing what needs to be done structurally. Just like I think, there really aren't that many good, if any, billionaires out there. I happen to be a fan of Mark Cuban, but even though I think he does get it, he just can't say it because either he chooses not to, or he thinks that, I think a lot of them fear, because so much of their money is tied up in various investments around the world, that if they start saying the wrong thing, that's going to get them into trouble. I don't know what the end game is or where we ultimately go from here, but I do think a new age economy is what's ultimately going to get us there. And I do think something like modern monetary theory is one of those ways. But I also think, as we bring this conversation full circle, I do think Brexit was a watershed moment. And I do think the uniting of working people is what is ultimately going to save us. If we're able to be saved at this point, I don't know. But I do think that there's enough people that are aware. It's now just a question of, can we bring them together? And I think by having conversations like this, it's how we're going to get closer to where we need to be. And with that,
thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.